Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Trap on the Boom Bust channel, Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry. And today, recapping our loss to the 49ers. I don't even know what week it is anymore. Is it week 14? I don't got the NFL up. Anyway, whatever. Wait. Yeah, week 14. Lost to the 49ers. I went and took a nap after the game. Truthfully, might have been a little bit before the game ended. And so I just got up a little bit ago. I didn't feel like there was a ton to say about this game. So I didn't even know if I was going to do a recap. But once I got up, I was like, might as well. I'm sure people got thoughts. And I'm more curious on y'all thoughts because again, there's not a ton to say because there's not a lot that happened in this game that I haven't went over. And trust me, I am tempted to make every sarcastic joke there is. But I'm not really gonna do that. We all, well, if you been listening, we all know what my thoughts are. We all know what I said. And again, that's what you got to do, man. You don't have to, obviously, but for me, that's the point of this. That's the point of true analysis, is to be able to project, talk about what you're projecting and why, and be able to stand on that. So this wasn't let me wait and see how we do and then say what I feel about the team. Like, no, this is patterns don't change that dramatically, especially when the roster doesn't change, and it's just probability. As much as people talk about different things, especially like the first game after head coach firing and all these different things, we just need a fresh voice and blah 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 blah. It's going to always come down to who your team is, who you play. That's who you play matters. I feel like I said that a lot more last year, but still true this year, and that's just what it is. So I look at some teams at any point of the year. You go on streaks and people have all these narratives. That's what they are, essentially. They have all these narratives about why it's this and that, what if it's bad or good. And then, you look at it and they're like, okay, well, a number of things could be true, but a lot of times, look at who you playing, and people get real caught up into these numbers. As I said many times before, does not tell the whole story. They think they actually know a team, and you don't know a team because you're not watching the football and actually looking at the rosters. Because as much as we can draw up things and talk about football X's and O's, the X's and O's not created equal once you get on the field. So that's always going to be a big important part of it. So the 49ers is a team that I always had respect for this whole year, and I'll continue to. I know the year hasn't gone the way they wanted. I'm not even going to call it because of injuries. It's a number of things. Although I do think McCaffrey was a big part of that, but still hasn't gone the way they wanted. But you'd be crazy to think they don't have talent. You'd be crazy to think that Kyle Shanahan wouldn't be able to scheme something. I think they did a really good job in that first half of just overplaying our aggression. Like, it wasn't a ton of misdirection in terms of going one part of the field and back to the other, but it was in the screen game and the play action game really getting behind us. And betting wise, man, I swear I take tight ends every time. Tight ends go crazy against us because as athletic or rangy as our linebackers are, we rarely play man-to-man coverage. And so if you got a quarterback that has some type of athleticism or some type of underneath threat, the linebackers in their zone, they're going to have their eyes upfield, and if you can pass protect, which most people can, to long enough to get somebody behind our linebackers 5 to 7 yard depth, they're going to be wide open a lot of the times. And you saw what happened with George Kittle went crazy. TJ Hawkinson went crazy on us. And it's just tight ends tend to be able to do that if they want to, or if the team wants to attack us that way. And so I think they just did a great job of, hey, this defense is going to, I wouldn't say overcommit. I did see the comment that we were overcommitted with blitzing and being aggressive. I don't know if that's the case, not from what I saw. I did see like some third down pressures, looks, and things of that nature. But it didn't really seem to me that we were like selling out on a blitz or anything. The only thing, I mean, it is a mindset. Like, it's not always a call. You know what I mean? You can line up the same way on defense and play it differently just based on your mindset. Like you could, for example, 1st and 10 in the first quarter versus 3rd and 10 in the fourth quarter. Like those are different mindsets. So I just feel like, at least from what I saw, and we'll see on the film, but either way, I felt that we were very aggressive to the run. We were really, I won't say scarred. What word am I looking for? We were really impacted by the Cardinals and teams like that, because Cardinals, that wasn't a downhill run game, as I showed y'all. That was more of a, move-in power game where they're going to trap you, they're going to pull, they're going to do those types of things. And the 49ers give you a little bit of a lot. I mean, most of it's zone, but they do a lot of power plays and a lot of things to tight ends and fullbacks. So I think we was just ready for something physical downhill. And like the first 2 to 3 drives, they just did such a great job of picking up first downs by playing against our aggression and sneaking in screens behind us and being able to play action. But that goes hand in hand with our, lack of ability to pass rush. And I think that we did a bit of a better job on certain plays because they have Trent Williams. To be honest with you, that left tackle struggled a little bit on the pressure plays, but for the most part, they held up enough where Brock Purdy was able to either reset or get to his first mark. And yeah, I mean, the 49ers off. They've been doing, again, yes, McCaffrey's out. Yes, Trent Williams out. Ayuk is out, but we know they still got guys that could hoop, and that's why they are the 49ers. And they've been doing this for years, so they know what they're doing. And then offensively for us, I don't want to get on here and beat a dead horse, but you tell me, man. That's why I said I'm ready. I'm curious to see what people are going to say. Now, what I don't want to hear, you can say it, but what I don't want to hear in terms of tomorrow when I start looking and listening on everything, I don't want to hear people start talking about how bad the roster is. Because again, these cycles happen, especially for us, but I'm sure every team, it happens all the time. And that's why, and you wonder why I'm able to predict what people are going to say, what's going to happen, because it's just a cycle. Again, you don't like Eberflus, so we play competitive football. Yes, we lost. We play competitive football, and it's 90% Eberflus is the problem. Eberflus is 90% the problem. He's the difference between winning and losing. Okay, that's what you said. I don't want you to change it now. He's 90% the problem. Eberflus was the difference between winning and losing. Then you go out here today. I don't think Eberflus was in the building. I don't think he is from Santa Clara. I don't think he's a 49ers fan. I don't think they gave him a headset. I don't think he worked remote. Eberflus wasn't there. So 90% of the problem was Eberflus. So what the hell happened today? That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know. What happened today then? And so I don't want to hear the people to start saying, oh, well, the passing game or the play calling and oh, well, you can say the play call, but I don't want to hear like, oh, well, Caleb messed up, or we just don't have time. This O-line doesn't give us time, or our run game. I don't want to hear any of that. This is not a different team than when Waldron was here. It's not a different team than when Eberflus was here. You got the same guys. Now, as I've said before, you look at the film, and in general, you just realize football is the combination of probably dozens of things, but everybody wants to make it one thing. And when you do that, you clearly have no way to actually project results. So, but since everybody wants to say it was Eberflus, I'm only able to come away from today saying, either that wasn't true, or 90% of why we look so bad today was Thomas Brown. I don't know. So people said Thomas Brown potentially for head coach consideration. You tell me. You go ahead and tell me what did Thomas Brown do so greatly a head coach today? So that's not much to say. I will reiterate, even though it's like the 500th time, but I know not everybody listens well. The offense, again, same thing we saw. I mean, I think at this point, everybody understands the run game is just not a feature presentation for our offense. Not to say that, we should not run anything. I'm not saying that, but we know that more times than not, especially on early downs, which is the most important, we're not super effective. And we definitely don't stick with the run. And then Rocho was out too. So, or Roscoe. Somebody tell me, is it Rocho or Roscoe? It's Roscoe Johnson, right? So it's Roscoe. Anyway, he was out, and he's the more physical, durable back. And so no game did we ever really, quote unquote, pound the rock. And so today probably wasn't going to be the day. But that then puts a lot of pressure onto the passing game. And I think a pretty decent breakdown of the passing game against the Lions. And really, if I just wanted to go as long as I wanted to, I would have pulled all the games from Thomas Brown again, because I don't want to hear, oh, well, that's just the Lions. No, it's not. Because, again, first of all, he's the passing game coordinator, and everybody was complaining about the passing game part of our offense. So you can talk about play calling, sure. I'm not going to say that's not important, but this is the person who conceptually I wouldn't say came up with, but conceptually creates the passing game with Waldron, and where they come from the same tree. And then on top of that, passing games coordinator is to put together the best plan for that game. And again, since nobody's there, they get to just, make up their own narrative and roll with it. Well, Waldron wasn't listening to Thomas Brown. Thomas Brown didn't have any freedom. He was great at his job, but Waldron just didn't listen. Okay. So now Waldron became the OC. Now he's the head coach. So he had all the freedom in the world to do what he wanted to do. And I can show you 4 straight games of what it looks like. And it looks just like it did before, with the same issues. And to the credit of Waldron as well, and the whole staff, I think the whole year we've done a much better job. Or I wouldn't say we've done a better job in the second half, which means we did a good job at halftime adjustments. And I don't mean like completely flipped it, but more times than not in the third quarter, it looks like we understand where we can attack them a little bit better, but we don't always execute, especially the full half. And I think we get stuck in some of those core schemes that we run a lot that I think just suck. And again, that's a big built-in part of the offense. So when people think there's going to be drastic change. It's just not going to happen. And so, again, I don't know what to call it. And I'll be curious. I'm actually meeting with my OG football mentor, former coach, and some people over winter break as I get ready, like I said, to try to get back into the game. And so I want to just see kind of, especially lingo. They're big on lingo. I'm not always, I don't let lingo slow me down because people call things different things. But I'm curious of what it's called. But you've seen it. I've talked about it. I call it the hitch concept. I mean, whatever you want to call it, shortstops, hitches, curls, whatever. They do the same thing, one vertical, usually 2 to 3 hitches, and then they have some type of out, which is a little different than it was with Getty, because Getty ran this a lot. Nagy ran this a lot. And again, it's ran a lot all over the league. I personally hate it for a lot of reasons. But so things like that, that's not just a Waldron thing. That's an NFL thing, but also that's a big part of what we do. We have like 6 variations of it. So a lot of times in key situations, that's what we go to. And I think that's part of the problem. But again, I don't know that that's going to change with any coordinator, but it definitely wasn't changing from Thomas Brown, went from Waldron. Like that's a big part of our baked in offense. So the issues that I talked about before, we saw them today. And yeah, that's what it was. So I'm curious what y'all thought. Go down comment section. Let me know what you think. Share it around. Get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe. And remember, stay up and bear down.